If you're anything like I was at the end of high school, you're probably thinking, I need to figure out what I'm going to do with my life. But the more that I talk to people, the more I see a couple of pervasive myths pop up around the way that we think about our future, especially our careers. Fortunately, the people over at 80,000 Hours have spent the last 15 or so years studying what makes for a satisfying career that does good, and they've condensed it into a single article for us. Today I want to walk you through what they found, along with a couple of my own thoughts. The first point I want to address is the temptation to think that your job defines everything about you from here on out. In reality, you probably have time for family, friends, hobbies, other meaningful pursuits. And while it's true that from here on out you'll be spending a significant amount of your time at work, so we want to make sure that's as satisfying as possible, we also want to recognize that that's not the only part of a meaningful and satisfying life. Your job is just one of many things that can bring you joy and purpose. The better you understand what those other things that you want to be part of your life are, the more clarity you'll have as you make your choice about your career. Because suddenly you have parameters that some careers fit in and some don't. Do some thinking and writing about what kind of life you want to be living 5, 10, 20 years down the line, and work backwards from there. To share a personal example, I'm really passionate about music. At the end of high school, I was planning on studying music, becoming a professional composer, making that my career. But when I realized what kind of lifestyle I want to live in the future, I realized as well that a musician's salary probably isn't going to provide for that. That, along with a little nudge from God, is why I decided to switch to being a business major with a music minor. That way I can still improve upon my talents, and I can still spend time doing what I love, but this way I don't have the pressure of that being my main source of income. Next up, we want to find work that's in the Goldilocks zone of difficulty. When you're learning a foreign language, they tell you to find passages to read that you understand about 80% of. And I'd say that's a good rule of thumb. If you understand about 80% of what you're doing, there'll be enough new material to keep you engaged, but it won't be so difficult that it becomes overwhelming. Too little challenge, and the work will become repetitive. Too much, and you'll get demotivated. So you want to find a job where you can do what you're good at while also pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. Now, this next point isn't something that's directly within your control, so you may wonder why I even bring it up. But one of the major contributors to satisfaction in the workplace is who you're working with, both coworkers and management. Obviously, this is going to vary widely from organization to organization. But if you're looking around your first couple of semesters in college and you think, I don't know if I want to spend the rest of my life around these people, it might be time for a change. Chances are good that your classmates now are going to be your coworkers or even your bosses 5 or 10 years down the line. The other thing you can do now is identify the kind of organization that you want to work for and try and get a peek inside. Even if it's not as formal as an internship, a lot of places are open to having students come in for a day to job shadow. An intimate look at the kind of work someone does and the environment they do it in is powerful information to have as you make this decision. All right, I try to be a pretty positive guy, but the next tip is to go in with your eyes open. As you talk to people who have a job that you think you might want someday, you should ask them, what's the best part about your job and what's the worst part about your job? If you've been dreaming since you were 5 of being a fireman, but then find out that they have to work 72-hour shifts, you have to ask yourself, is that a price I'm willing to pay? Personally, my mental health doesn't react great if I get anything less than 8 hours of sleep. So any job that requires working a swing or graveyard shift is a non-starter. And across the board, long hours, long commutes, especially if it's more than an hour by bus, unfair pay, and job insecurity all tend to be linked with higher job dissatisfaction. All right, the last tip that we're going to cover today is to choose work that has a positive impact on other people. It's never too early to start thinking about what you want your legacy to be. If you have a job where you can get home each day, look yourself in the mirror and say, I did something good for someone today, that's going to be a whole lot more sustainable. And you may not have thought about this, but chances are good that the kind of coworkers you want to have are going to be attracted to places that do good. And that doesn't necessarily mean a nonprofit. It could just be a business that's dedicated to improving the lives of everyone it comes in contact with. But regardless, you'll have an easier time surrounding yourself with high quality people in that kind of organization. All right, time for a quick review. So, the things that we covered today are: recognize that work is one of many parts of a meaningful life. Find work that's challenging, but not too challenging. Identify organizations that attract the kind of people you want to be around. Be aware of the downsides to your chosen profession, and make the world a better place by going to work each day. And that'll about wrap it up for today. So make sure you check out my latest video here. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.